Hi guys, welcome back to the Star Wars figure review. Next up today we're going to take a look at one of the figures from the comic packs of the Black Series. This is actually the first one I'm giving you a proper look at on the channel. And the one in question here is the new Princess Leia one of the most recently released line. Now before we take a look at the figure, we'll take a look at the packaging this one comes in. As you can see, unlike the standard Black Series, this has a more display box themed towards the comic book, which they've decided to feature all the character from. And the comic book in question is this one right here. This was the Princess Leia comic book series that was published in 2015. And it takes place in the immediate aftermath of the Battle of Yavin in A New Hope, where Princess Leia and the surviving Y-Wing pilot in canon, because in canon there's the one Y-Wing that also escapes the Death Star, as well as Luke and Wedge. The pilot's name in question is Yvonne Verlaine. She does appear on the covers of other comic book artwork in the line, but this is the one in question to show from there, which just shows Princess Leia having just killed a stormtrooper on the ground. To go series, you'll be able to pick this up. Still be able to pick this up as a graphic novel. It is definitely available in reprints on that. And of course, what's different, unlike the standard Black Series comic book as well, is it also opens up on the inside, and you get more artwork from the comic book itself, as well as a bio there. So if you'd just like to pause the video and read that. And then of course on the back there you have other pictures from the artwork. This is of course from the last page of the comic book when Leia returns to the Rebellion fleet. As they're evacuating Yavin, and then on the side there you do get other stills from the comic book art of Leia in action. And it was a good comic book series as well, because it was when Marvel started to come back in regards to the comic books. And as I say, there's Princess Leia there on the shot, and that there is Yvonne Verlaine, the other pilot. She never actually appears on the screen, as we know, but Y-Wing does, because she partakes in the Battle of Scarif and the Battle of Yavin, and then of course she appears in the comic books with Leia there, and of course appears in the later on ones. So yeah, as I said, this is the first of these comic packs I've actually bought, so it's a very different style of packaging as opposed to the standard Black Series packaging we do get. It's sort of like a nice little expanded universe kind of thing that we're getting this time around. They used to do comic packs in the past as well, where you'd sometimes get the character, like a character or two, like a 2-pack, and then you'd get a comic book in question with it. Like, so we could have effectively had, like, if they decided to do it this way, we could have had like Princess Leia and Yvonne Verlaine and like this comic book in there with it as well. That's kind of how it would have been. We had it in the Shadows of the Empire reign as well. Like there was a 2-pack of Darth Vader and Prince Shizor that came with a comic book. It was one with Boba Fett and IG-88, I think it was. They were together as well. I think I saw those at a toy fair one time as well, but I never got them in the end. But I do like this look, and there's some good ones they've had out in the waves, and they've really gone out with making their choices. Like they're not just restricting it, because they started out with the first wave, which was Heir to the Empire Luke Skywalker, because of course Heir to the Empire, the Throne trilogy, had a comic book adaptation, and we had one with Darth Maul pre Phantom Menace. That was a highly sought after one. I noticed that one sold out rather quickly at places. I wasn't too fussed about it, but it basically was just the Knight Brother Warrior, but with Maul's paint. So the Knight Brother Warrior and Archer from the gaming grades at the minute, but with Maul's paint over with a Darth Maul style comic book. There was an elite Emperor's Guard called Connor Jax, and this rabbit character called Jackson. That's who we got there. And we started with another wave earlier this year, where we got Black Chrysanthemum, who we do know appeared in the Book of Boba Fett, but he's also appeared many times in the comic books beforehand as well. We had the white armoured Darth Vader from Star Wars Infinities, which was sort of a timeline where Star Wars would go off on a different approach. So it was basically Star Wars' own what if, like Marvel had. Like, even though Marvel's is a TV show, this was a comic book. Like, it was Star Wars' own what if. And there was of course this one as I'm showing right now, and there is one other one, but I've forgotten what that one is. But they're all available now to be picked up, and this was the one I was most sought after out of the comic packs, just because I've always liked the look Leia had in the comic books, and even like EA did, because they decided to take this Leia look for the character model on Battlefront 2, and I'm very much a fan of it, because that was Leia's default adventure gear. The only difference is this one has a sort of robe. It's actually from Padme's the Padme figure, just recoloured, but in the game she has a sort of a vest like Han Solo does. She has that mainly in the comic book series as well, but Hasbro have opted to go with the cloak, robe, gown approach this time, which is I'm alright with. It still looks great on the comic book shelf, but a lot of the figure is sort of kit bash reuse there, as we know there, because the torso and the legs down to about the knees are from the Princess Leia from Bespin Escape, which you can just see behind me there on the shelf on the bottom one there, just above where my thumb is right now. That's mainly what the reuse comes from, but it does have its own little bits there, and the hair sculpt really makes out for it there. I think they've gone with a different look. I mean, it doesn't 100% match the look on there, but like when I was seeing this in packaging, I thought it doesn't really look much like the Battlefront 2 and comic book pack. But then when I had it out of the packaging and I looked at it, I'm like, never mind. This is actually really good. I do like this one, and it was, as I said, it was high up on my list for ones to get. So accessory wise, you do get an E11 blaster rifle from a Stormtrooper. They've actually updated this time. They've made the side of it a bit wider out there, and of course that was another little gaming feature that Leia could have if you played as her on as a hero. And that you'd have you could have her wield one of these and just have it on rapid fire, and just take out your enemies like that. And the other item being the blaster pistol, Defender Sporting Blaster Pistol, I remember is its name. So you can replace that, and the finger is out there to hold on to it. So you do have your choice there as to which blaster you would like to have Leia to hold from the comic book series or from the game or from Battlefront 2. So if you preferred to have it on a gaming grade shelf, you can. I mean, I'd have preferred if they gave us the vest like as an optional addition, because that just feels like it would have been right to have there, but unfortunately they haven't. So there's the chance of me trying to track one down on a fodder pack or something like that, and then painting it over to make a Battlefront 2 Leia. That would have been great. But I'm not complaining. I've still wanted a version of this Leia, and I'm satisfied enough with this. Like as I said, it's mainly the same as Leia's Bespin escape gear, just with the addition of the belt and the difference on the hands there being the gloves. But I like this. I like this anyway. And as I said, the head sculpt really adds to this. Some great poses you can have her in. That adds to the character, and it's nice to see like all three of the main members of the Skywalker family have been given a comic book pack now. Because we've had, as I said, Luke from the Empire, Darth Vader in the white armor from the Infinities, and this Princess Leia now. It'd be nice to get Han Solo later along the lines of that as well. It'd be great to get one of them. And there's many more that we can be looking out for in the future. I think definitely that there's definitely some good sides of the Black Series to come out, like special editions, because even though I've got this version, as I said there, it's not the only with this kind of packaging I do have, the other being the Droids Boba Fett, but I will give a look at that in a later video once I get my hands on that, once I get around to reviewing that one. But this one I sort of just picked up like the day after I filmed my recent collection tour, which is probably why I didn't see it on the shelf, but I very much like it. Like I said, even though this is like reused from Padme, it's all plastic goods, and it obviously is its own separate sculpted piece, so it probably is removable, but it's probably very much a hassle to get off, just given the state of Leia's hair. Like it's not going to be easy to get this thing off unless you sort of boil and pop the head off, then take it off and then put the head back on. That's probably the easiest way you're going to take that off Princess Leia on the figure. But I mean, otherwise it works all right. It stands nicely there with the character as well. I have this one in the cabinet with a lot of my outside of the films material, sort of comic book, and as I said, because it's comic book, it's a little different there, but I do love this, and it really does suit out as a character to have in the collection there. But like just to add that Princess Leia collection that I've got growing, it's been quite a bit of a market for Princess Leia figures this year, because we've had the Yavin Ceremony Leia, Endor Celebration Ewok Village Leia, and there's been the archive issue of Episode 4 Leia, and now this. And then last year we had Endor Soldier Leia, which is getting reissued next year with the Return of the Jedi. I've just seen the pipeline reveals at the time of filming this review, because there was the Black Series pipeline reveals the night before, so I've seen that already. We're getting the Endor Leia, but in a Return of the Jedi card back, so that'd be good to see. So yeah, there's quite a bit of Princess Leia to add to your collection these days. I'll give a rundown on the articulation. You have the double joint for the ball joint at the head there. Ball hinged shoulders and elbows, ball hinged wrists, ball jointed torso, ball hinged hips, swivel thighs, double joints at the knees, because that's what the Leia from Bespin had. And then you get the sort of swivel boots down at the bottom there. The boots are separate pieces, so you can have the feet in different poses, which is it's often a good thing to have that, so the pilots often have this, so it's good to see that there. And then you get the ball joint rocker at the ankle, so very much some classic style Black Series articulation down there. But up higher up, it's trying to be a bit more modern. there's a good mix of articulation there for this Princess Leia figure, and it's definitely one to add there. I'd probably say that this is one of my favourites of the year. Like out of the ones that have come out this year, I'd say this is probably my favourite now, just because of just how more. I mean, it's also the same because obviously the most original one you would say would be the Endor Celebration one, and then probably the Yavin Ceremony one, seeing as this one is reuse and then the other one's an archive release. So, but this one's a worthy addition, and as well just for a mint and box collector, just for the box art alone there, that just really works out, and that looks great on the side with the black and white artwork there. I very much love this. Like as I said, I've not really got many of any other comic pack figures at the minute, because I considered Black Chrysanthemum, but I saw the disappointment people had towards that. But I know he's getting a reissue, so I might just wait out for that and then see what comes of it. And because if that turns out to be much better, I'll get that, and that'll just be how it'll go. But yeah, this one's worth having. I'll put a link in the description below to where you can buy her. I'm just pleased to own it. It very much does fill my collection nicely, and as I say, it gives me a new Leia that I can put in the cabinet. And it's a more original look. You know, this is a Leia we never really saw on screen except in Battlefront 2. So. For all we know, there could be a gaming greats version of the Battlefront 2 Leia all set to come out. So that would basically just be a repack of this, except instead of this shawl, we would have a vest basically, like hat like she would have in the game. So there's always that to wait out for. I'd always like to see that as part of the gaming greats of the vintage collection personally, because I'd be buying that in a heartbeat if that was the case. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Otherwise. So it's a decent figure, this one. That's to say the absolute least. And I'd definitely say give the Princess Leia comic book series a read. It's sort of like one of those when you want to see what goes on in the aftermath of the films, like because we had the Darth Vader one in 2017. That sort of gave the immediate aftermath of, well, not Revenge of the Sith itself, but the scene when he's been reconstructed in his suit. That's what that gives. That gives the immediate aftermath of that scene, rather than cutting away to Naboo like it does in the film. We see what Vader does to the Emperor in the room. That's what that one kind of does. And as I said, that one takes, like, the Leia one, it begins right after Luke and Han have been given their medals and they've been applauded for it. So, yeah, because basically they get their medals, the Rebel Alliance applaud, then Leia sort of gives a speech, and they're like, right, we got to get out of here now, sort of thing. That's kind of what went on. So yeah, that's one to say. And as I said, there's other ones. I think there's Shattered Empire that also takes place in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi, as well as the Death Star's destroyed. Because Battlefront 2 did some of that as well for its main campaign too. So there's sort of a nice little hybrid. And there's other ones out there. The Poe Dameron ones had the aftermath of The Last Jedi as well. So I hope to see more of that. Like especially we could get one with the Phantom Menace. I hope there's one down the line to have the aftermath of that. And one for the aftermath, well, for the Attack of the Clones, we kind of just have Anakin and Padme's wedding, so I'm not sure how that one's going to go. That one, seeing as we got the Clone Wars in account with that, that's going to be very different. But yeah, this is Princess Leia. As I said, this one's Princess Leia for her comics, worth a read, absolutely worth a read for that. And other ones, I even forgot to mention Empire Strikes Back has its own one as well with the current run of Star Wars comics. Apologies for touching my glasses just there, I feel like I keep sliding off, but yeah, Empire Strikes Back also has its aftermath as well, but sort of after they've escaped the Empire. So both sides of it as well, the Darth Vader and the Star Wars ones have the aftermath on that. So yeah, and even again, this version of Leia appears through the Empire Strikes Back aftermath comics as well. So there's plenty of sort of diorama stuff you can do with this one, and it'll be worth a have. So yeah, I'll leave a link to where you can buy this from Star Action Figures in the description below, and do drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, subscribe. The Facebook, Twitter and Instagram links are all down there in the description below, and I'll see you next time.